am Dr.V.UMAMAHESWARI, Associate Professor of English from A.D.M. College for Women, Nagapattinam. Let us see the poem Sita, written by Dr.V.UMAMAHESWARI. Dr.V.UMAMAHESWARI was an Indian Bengali poet and translator from British India. She was born on 4th March 1856 at Calcutta in Bengal. She wrote both in English and in French. Her poems explore the theme of loneliness, longing, and patriotism. Her notable poems are Our Casuarina Tree, The Sawyer, The Young Captive, Sita, and Lotus. She breathed her last on 30th August 1877 at the age of 20 in Calcutta. Let us see the poem Sita. Three happy children in a darkened room, what do they gaze on with wide open eyes? A dense forest where no sunbeam perix, and in its center a clear spot there bloom gigantic flowers on creepers that embrace tall trees there in a quiet elusive lake. The white swan glide there, whirring from the brake. The peacock springs, their herds of wild deer race. Their patches gleam with yellow waving grain. Their blue smoke from strange altars rises light. There dwells in peace the poet anchorite. But who is the fair lady? Not in vain. She weeps for lo, at every tear she sheds tears from three pairs of young eyes fall amine, and bound in sorrow are the three young heads. It is an old story and the lay which has evoked sad Sita from the past. Eased by a mother's song, it is hushed at last, and melts the picture from their sight away. Yet shall they dream of it until the day when shall those children by their mother's side gathered, me, as erst and eventide. The poem Sita gives the photographic vision of mythic past. Sita is a mythological story. It is the story from Ramayana. The picture of Sita in exile. She also describes the beauty of nature in which flowers, lakes, peacocks, and herd of deer find a place. The poem Sita is a mythological poem. It is taken from Ramayana. In the story, Sita, she is in the suffering. She suffered in the forest, who has been exiled in the Valmiki heritage. Her husband Rama left her in the forest. So she was very lonely and she was suffering with loneliness. The poet's mother is the narrator of the story. The poem is told by the mother to her three children during the night time when they are going to sleep. She tells the story of Sita in exile to her three children. The three children are the Toru. Toru is nothing. She is the poet, and her sister Aru and her brother Abju. In the darkened room, the children listen to the story of Sita. Usually, every day for the children, the mother used to say some story. Like that, Toru's mother told the story of Sita to her three children, Toru, Aru, and Abju. while they are going to sleep, they heard the story of Sita from their mother. The story has produced the great effects in the minds of the children. They were pondering what will happen, how Sita will be. They were very excited while hearing the story of Sita. They visualized everything through their mind's eye. When their mother told the story, the three children, they imagined what will happen, really what could happen, and they were very sad and become one with the character of Sita. Everyone indulged with the story of Sita, and they felt very sorry for Sita. Let us see the poem. Three happy children in a darkened room. The three happy children were the Toru, Aru, and Abju. What do they gaze on with wide open eyes? A dense forest where no sunbeam strikes, and in its center a cleared spot, there bloom gigantic flowers on creepers that embrace. Here, the three children, they were in the dark room. Their mother told the story of Sita to them. What do they gaze on with wide open eyes? When the mother were telling the story, they, they didn't slept with very wide open eyes. They are hearing the story of Sita. A dense forest. The mother told there is a dense forest. The forest was so thick with no light. It is very dark, where no sunbeam shines, and in its center a cleared spot. In the center of the forest there is a cleared spot, only one way, the light, one way to go for the light. There bloom gigantic flowers on creepers, and the mother told in the forest the flowers are very big. Gigantic means very, very big, big flowers. The flowers are from the creepers that embrace tall trees. The creepers covered the tall trees there in a quiet, lucid lake. There is also a lake. Let us imagine that the dense thick forest with the creepers covering the trees. On the other side, a very clear lake, while the swans glide. In the lake, the swans were swimming, whirling from the braid. The peacock springs. The peacocks were dancing. Their herds of wild deer raised, and a group of herds, that is the deer, they were jumping and going here and there. Three dark patches gleam with yellow waving grain. There is also here some kind of grains were in the forest. All the children, the three children, they imagined the story what their mother told, how the forest will be, and in that forest, how Sita will be there in loneliness. So they felt more for Sita, how Rama left her. The children witness a dense forest. It is so thick that the sunlight cannot enter easily. Already we have seen the forest is so thick, so it will be very dark. No sunlight could be entered. As a result of that, it looks very dark. What will happen if there is no lightning? The area will be very dark. So the children imagine themselves how it will be very dark, how Sita could live in the darkness. There are many flowers and creepers that embrace all trees. Even though there were many flowers and creepers, so even though there were flowers and creepers, but the area is very dark. The white swans are floating in the lake. The swans were floating in the lake very happily, and the peacocks and deers were going here and there. There are the patches of the land, and they are shining with yellow grains. There were also land The people were grown some grains. In that land, the grains are yellow in color. They look very beautiful on the other side of the forest. So, in the next stanza, the blue smoke from strange altar rises light. There dwells in peace the poet and anchorite. But who is the fair lady not in vain? So the poet says that there is a smoke that is in the sky. There will be a smoke. There will be moving some places. There is no peace. The poet anchorite, that is the Sita, she lives in exile in Valmiki's hermitage. But there is a lady, the mother asked the children, some lady is there in the forest. Who is that lady? She is weeping, she is crying. Who is she? She is the wife of Rama. Rama left her in the forest, her lonely. She furlough at every tear she sheds. So she is very lonely and she is feeling loneliness without her husband. Her husband left her. Tears from the three pairs of young eyes fall amine. On seeing that, on hearing that, the three children, that is Toru, Aru, and Abju, they were also crying that how Rama left his wife alone in the forest. It is even though she is alone, the area is very dark. She will be afraid of that, and many animals will come and they may kill her. So they were very sorrow. They felt very sorry for Sita. And bowed in sorrow are the three young heard. So even though the children heard the story, they were not able to catch it because of the sufferings of Sita. It is an old story. That is, it is a story of mythical story. The story of Sita is a mythical story, and the lake which has evoked Sita from the past is by mother sung. It is their mother, Toru's mother, told the story of Sita. It is hushed at last and melts the picture from their sight away. They were not able to remove the sight, the story from their mind because they felt very sorry for the suffering of Sita. Yet shall they dream of it until the day. They were not able to forget the happenings of Sita. When shall those children by their mother's side gather on me at eventide? They were always thinking about the Sita, and they are not able to sleep by thinking Sita. There is a sudden change in the story. After the beautiful forest is described, the storyteller here introduces the fair lady sitting alone in the forest. Who is the fair lady? She is the Sita in the hermitage of Valmiki. She is shedding tears. She is crying. Sita is crying because her husband Rama left her alone to survive. So she is crying. She can't live without her husband. She left her alone. The sorrow of Sita's life has deeply touched the children, and they are not able to tolerate the hardship faced by Sita. On hearing the story of Sita or the suffering of Sita, the children felt very hardship about Sita. They feel sorry for her and tears roll down from their eyes. By hearing the story of Sita, the three children, Toru, Aru, Abju, they were also crying how Rama left his wife alone in the forest. The mother understands the minds of the children and stops her narration. When the mother started the story of Sita, the three children were crying. On seeing that, she didn't narrate further the story. She stopped with that. She embraces her three children and pacifies them. She pacifies the three children not to cry and not to feel more about Sita. The story has created a great effect in their mind. The children are affected by the story of Sita. Through their mother has completed the story, the children have dreamt of it the whole night. Throughout the night, the children they didn't sleep. They thought of the story of Sita, how Sita will be suffering in the forest without light, in the darkness, in the animals will be coming, how she could live there in the forest without light. Though she was in the hermitage of Valmiki, she is alone. So they felt more about Sita and they did slept. The three children, Abju, Aru, Toru, they did slept. They were always thinking about the story of Sita. The children are being told a bedtime story by their mother. Every day, the mother used to say bedtime story to the children to sleep. Finally, she told the story of, one day she told the story of Sita. When the poet recollects the story of Sita, she remembers her past happy days in the presence of her mother. This poem is also a reminiscence, that is, the poet recollects her old age when she was young. Her children, her mother told the story to her brother and sister. Her past life, her minds with peace and happiness. She reminds of her past peace and happiness. Though now she is aged, she reminds of the past. Even now also, we can't bring the past life. The past is past, it has gone. The young child life is the best one. From this we says the child life is the best one because we don't know about anything and our mother will be saying more stories during night time. Moreover, she longs for her childhood days. As I told now, she is the poet. Toru, she longs. She thinks of her childhood days, how they were happy, and she tries to escape from the burden of life. That is, now she is thinking of the present life, and now she wants to escape from this life, the aged life, and she wants to go to the young childish life. In the child life, they were enjoying more. They can't think about anything. Just they want to play and enjoy their life. After the age, they have to face various burdens in their life. So she longs for the earlier childhood life. Let us see here the protagonist, the main character of the story is the protagonist is the Sita. She is in exile in the hermitage of Valmiki, which is surrounded by the beauty of nature. Though nature seems beautiful, Sita is weeping. So let us see, though the nature is beautiful, Sita is weeping. Why? Because Rama has left her and also the area where she was living there was very dark. She has been put in the exile in Valmiki's ashram. She begins to think of her past and laments over the present situations. So, though Sita was in Valmiki's ashram, so she thinks of the past and she is very feels sorry about the present situation since Rama has left her. The plight of Sita has left an indelible impression in the minds of the children. Now, the children, both the three children, they were talking about the Sita, her life. The Sita's life never left from their minds. They were always thinking about Sita, how she will be, how her husband left her, and how she will be, how she is suffering. Always the children speaking about Sita, and they didn't sleep in that night. The poet's mother, that is Toru's mother, had picked up an old tale from Ramayana about Sita and her hardships. She thinks that the story from mythic past may teach moral values in the minds of the young children. Why the poet's mother picked up the story means this the mythical story may give some moral values to the children. From this, they can learn something. So only her mother picked, chosen the story of Sita to tell bedtime today to her children. The poem further reflects the poet's deep love for nature. That is, from the in the beginning of the poem, the poet says about the nature, how the forest will be, how dense it, how the light appears into the forest, and she is also saying about the swans, peacock, how they were roaming in the lake, and the peacock is dancing, everything. She doesn't left out with this. She also told about the lands where the yellow grains were growing, and that yellow, how the yellow grains are very beautiful in the forest. When she presents a pen picture of Valmiki's hermitage, it also provides the love bondage between mother and her children. The story also brings the bondage between the mother and the children. In this poem, Toru clearly gives the picture of Sita and how Sita laments for her husband, and the children were suffered by the suffering of the Sita. So this story still in the minds of the children, the three children, Aru, Abju, and Toru, and they were always feeling about this. And this poem is the reminiscence of Toru death, because the poem reminds of the past when her mother told the story of Sita, when Toru, her brother and children were young. Her mother told the story during their